You're watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you're tuned into Small Business Network, and we have a new person on the line today. She has her own business, and she's going to tell us all about it. Prema, welcome to the show.
Prema,
I still said it wrong. Okay, tell people how to say your name correctly and what it means.
Prema is a Sanskrit word for divine love. And it's a name that was with me for many, many years. I lived in India and had my first daughter in India. And it was a name that was given to me. And I didn't use it for many years. I was a midwife, so I used my given name as that. And then the time came when circumstances led me to change my name to Prema. And so I took it on officially.
Gotcha. Okay. It's kind of like prima donna, it's just
my last name is Rose, so it's Prema Rose.
Prema Rose. Instead of prima donna, it's Prema Rose.
Yeah.
Okay, so Prema Rose, tell us about your business and what you do.
Well, I'm a filmmaker, and I have several projects on the back burner, but one main project that I've been working on for many, many years. And that was brought to me, actually, downloaded to me on Christmas Eve of 1970. I was an actress on Broadway, television, and film. And then I was in rehearsal for a Broadway play when I had a near-death experience.
Oh, wow.
And that near-death experience really catapulted me into my spiritual work, because it had been my life for a long time. I had actually grown up. My high school was an Anglican convent boarding school.
Okay.
And so I was steeped in that from an early age, but had really walked away from living a spiritual focused existence. And I was an actress on Broadway. That says enough. So then with this near-death experience, which was life-changing for me, and then things evolved very quickly from there. I won't go into all the details because, for one thing, a lot of them are written at the bottom of the screen. And my first husband and I, on Christmas Eve in 1970, we were listening to some music that was really inspiring. And I said, we have to create a musical that is focused on the spiritual work, spiritual life. Okay. And that started pouring through. And it came through in bits and pieces at that time. It actually catapulted us out of New York, out of the United States, out of our careers. And he was also on Broadway, and ended up in an island in the Mediterranean, Ibiza, where the person that had given us this particular book that changed our lives was just astounding. And he was living in Ibiza, and he was an artist and a printer. And what had come through for us in the form of this work, which has now evolved into the film, the Microcosmic Cartoon Show.
Oh, wow.
So it was an animation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we called on him to help us put together and print. It was going to be a book at that time, like a cartoon book. But he said, well, I'm going back to Ibiza in a week, is where he lived. And we said, we'll follow you. And never looked back.
Oh, wow.
Well, did look back, yes, to a certain degree. Yeah, so we went to, we were looking for a particular teaching school that we knew we would find. And we found it in England and went to the school there for a year, and then traveled across Europe and the Mideast to go to India because I knew that I was going to have this baby in India.
Wow.
So we worked on it all this time while we were traveling and everything. All our work got stolen on a train through Pakistan. So yeah, I was doing all the drawings and everything, and we were writing together, and so anyway, we had to start over again.
Oh my gosh.
So in India, it became all fleshed out. It became detailed and became the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So put that on the back burner for a while because we moved away from India back to the United States and kept working on it, not in the background, more or less. And we were in a very large self-sufficient community in West Virginia. Then my husband and I split up and I moved out to Boulder. And my birth experience in India had been so remarkable and so powerful that I wanted to share that with other families who were birthing. And back then it was all about having medically induced delivery and C-sections and everything. And so I knew that it could be different. And so I wished to become a midwife. And I had another child in West Virginia, my son, and then moved out to Boulder and became a midwife. It was like, here, now's the time.
Right.
And I started apprenticing with a midwife and started my own practice, which I had for 25 years.
Nice. So how does a person find a midwife?
Oh, they're advertising, Yeah, you can. There are probably several around your area, wherever your area is.
I'm in Virginia Beach, actually.
Are you? Well, I'm sure there are midwives around there.
I mean, so I know normally when they have regular childbirth, is it a certain type of pregnancy that's looking for a midwife, or
Well, somebody who doesn't want medical intervention.
okay.
You don't want to be induced. You don't want episiotomies. You don't want a C-section.
Okay.
All of that. Drugs. You don't want drugs.
Right.
Because it does affect the baby.
Birth, pretty much.
The drugs affect the baby. It can depress the baby, and then you run into more problems, and it tends to snowball. The problems can snowball. And so if you have a midwife, it's very gentle. You are cared for. I mean, I did full prenatal care all the way through the pregnancy.
Okay.
And then the labor and delivery, and then a long-term postpartum care, because postpartum is very, very important. You're not really finished with your pregnancy, your birthing experience, till you go through at least 6 weeks of postpartum.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know that's a sensitive time after having your baby, because it
is, yeah. Your body has built up all this preparation, the blood and everything else, and the psychologically and all of that, for 9 months approximately, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a baby, and your body changes very quickly. Your milk comes in, your uterus has to shrink up, and it's a good period. So you need good care. You need loving care, and that's, I used to say I just get paid to love. So,
well, I mean, it's an amazing job that you do.
Mhm.
You know, I don't
Sometimes it can be very intense. I
yeah,
won't deny it, you know. Things happen and it can be really sort of on the edge.
yeah. I don't think everyone, this job was meant for everyone, to be honest.
No, no, no.
It's like
No, you have to give your life to it. You're on call 24/7.
yeah, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, what type of client do you look? Do you screen your clients, or what type of clients do you
Oh,
specifically
yeah.
look for?
Well, people who wish to have a non-interventionist kind of birth, who are very into their health and eating well, and um, their whole lifestyle is very important. So sometimes people come and they don't have that kind of lifestyle. So a lot of the prenatal work is bringing them into that,
Hmm.
new diet forms and ways of seeing life, and spiritually and psychologically too, that they can open up, let go of fear is a big thing,
Right.
big thing. So
Now,
we have digressed though from the microcosmic cartoon show. So that was that part of the journey, and then the time came about 20 years ago when it was time for me to step out of midwifery and focus on
back on the show.
producing the movie.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and started sending to festivals and things and winning awards
Wow.
right
Wow.
away. Right away. The first one I did was World Fest in Houston, and I won an award for that. And went down to Houston for the ceremonies, which and not only ceremonies, but a lot of learning.
Okay.
So they have lots of symposiums and panels and things like that going on all the time. And most of the festivals, they have that. And then I started pulling all the pieces together. Well, at one point, at one festival, I went to a panel and he said, well, if there isn't any sex and violence in the movie, it's not going to sell. This genre does not sell. And I said, well, I have to create a new genre. So So I really set about to bring that forward and into the industry too, that this is a very viable um, niche that can is supported by many people who don't want a lot of violence. I used to say, if I see another movie with a car chase, I'm going to stand up in the theater and scream because they're all the same of sorts. And anyway, I really wanted to bring forward into the media this love for the planet, love for people,
Mhm.
love for God, and how people can align their lives with that. So, the Microcosmic Cartoon Show is a musical. So, it has, sorry about that. I don't know that I could change that.
Don't you hate that?
It's usually spam. So, yeah, so I wanted to really bring forward the path of the hero's journey, which is really the basic story of how we go through all the trials in our lives and come out the other side in our own learning to a higher realization of who we are.
Mhm.
So, the premise of the Microcosmic Cartoon Show is a young, curious boy who asks, who am I? Why am I here? And where is here? What am I living in? What is this place? Why are we this ball of life
Mhm.
floating around in the universe? And so I take all of that into the whole um, premise and path of the journey through the circus of life. So the protagonist actually finds himself going through the veil into the circus of life, and then he has to meet all the distractions